Let's start. So please tell me if you can hear me well by sending a plus message to the chat. I hope you are doing fine today. Yeah, thank you. So we have prepared the small demo like before when we covered the previous release 1.4 with the with our hardware endpoint called TrueConf Group and our software MCU, which is called TrueConf MCU. So you can see, in addition to me, by the way, my name is Lev. I'm responsible for marketing, and together with me, my colleagues Rudolf, who's responsible for sales activities, and my colleague Dimitri, who's responsible for technical writing. So we have prepared this webinar together with you. Using this demo, we will try to show the latest features we have added to our product, TrueConf MCU. I will, like before, will share my screen. It will be better for understanding of the new features we did if I will share my screen. So don't worry, I will be here, but instead of me, you will see my content. If you have any questions, feel free to interrupt and ask them. So let's go, let's start. So this is the latest version of TrueConf MCU. As you can see here, it is version 1.5, and the previous release was 1.4. If you are using the previous version, you are able to update. So you have to go to our website and trueconf.com, and from the products menu, if you select the MCU product, you will download the new version. However, please, before upgrade, get in touch with our support team, because we have to verify the update for you. This release is a major release for us because only second digit is updated. When we move from version 1.4 to version 1.5, so we have to activate the eligibility for the upgrade in your license. So please be careful, otherwise the server could stop. This release brings some new features. One of the features is quite important. We will cover it in details. Some other less, not so big updates, however, they bring to the administrators the new user interfaces to manage conferences more efficiently. Before we start, I'd like to tell a couple of words about the solution itself. So if we go to the product web page, TrueConf MCU is different compared to TrueConf server. MCU is a solution which is designed to connect together hardware appliances, the codecs, the equipment used in conferencing rooms for communications, like Polycom, Cisco, Huawei, Avaya, Lifesize, Yearlink endpoints together in a group conferences. So basically, MCU is a mixing server which delivers multi-point experience to the equipment installed in your rooms or your customer rooms. And the whole idea behind that product is to bring the extreme ease of usage for the administrators, because compared to the web conferencing solutions and unified communication solutions and messaging platforms, in a room, we have very limited controls about what we are seeing and what we can do. And the main task of the administrator is to make everything looks nice for you. So when we're using MCU, it is a task of administrator, operator to manage layouts, manage audio streams, provide some logic behind the conference, change speakers, etc., adjust voice levels, and provide some basic troubleshooting. So because basically in a room, you only have a mute button on a microphone, and very few users are using the remote control if we talk about legacy equipment. So the operator has to do all those tasks. And the most important idea behind this solution is to help operators perform those tasks in a very efficient manner. To achieve this, we totally redesigned the approach used by other vendors and created very nice and user-friendly interface, which allows to manage conferences, multiple conferences, by fewer clicks, and to see all the details of the conference on the single screen. So we don't need to go deep into the menus. We can do basic tasks very efficiently. So the UI is the main idea behind MCU. MCU, it is a software distribution package. It is not a virtual machine. It is not an image you have to deploy on a virtual machine. It is not a hardware appliance. It is not a piece of computer you have to install. It's just a regular application like any other application on the web, so you can download and install it. However, it is not available for Windows platform. It could only be installed on Linux platforms like Debian 9 or Debian 10. So once you download the solution, you basically get a DAB package file, which you have to install using regular commands like apt install. And once installed, the solution maintain the dependencies, updates like any other package in your operating system. So you don't have to care about it anymore. It's a very reliable approach and very easy to manage for administrators. The free version of this product is also available. It is for 4 connections. When we speak about TrueConf Server, which is communication collaboration platform, we always talk about users. In case of MCU, we don't have users. We care about connections, because every room endpoint is basically a connection to the MCU when it participates in the conference calls. So we license connections and we manage connections using this piece of software. So you can dive deeper in the details and features of this product using our product page, or I will ask my colleagues to send the links to the recordings of the previous webinars about this product. But the idea of today's webinar is to highlight the latest updates of the version 1.5. So let's proceed. If you have any questions, send them to the chat. So first of all, yep, yes,
I think that just much more people connected today. So I want to just repeat for those who just connected that hello, and today the speaker is Lev Yakupov, TrueConf CMO, and today we are revealing the latest updates for the TrueConf MCU. And that was actually very important to understand the difference between the MCU itself and the TrueConf server. Thanks.
Thank you, Rodolphe. Nice to see you guys. So we are covering the latest updates. So let's start with the first thing. We finally added support for encryption. Usually when our customers communicate within the company, encryption is not enabled. But nowadays, it is very important when you communicate from your conference room to the remote organizations, to the remote branches, using public internet connections. So it is a very nice idea to have encryption in place, because by default, SIP and free-to-free standards, they are not secured at all. It is very easy to intercept. It is very easy to shadow copy the video streams and play them back without other parties. They will never notice this. So we recommend.
So basically, it's easily hacked, right?
It is, yeah. But usually, conference rooms are connected within the private network of the organization using VPN tunnels. But sometimes when we do communicate with our third parties, let's say our partners, so we have to call from one room to some remote location, our network administrators, our network engineers, they usually create a secure tunnel. But starting from this version, it is possible just to enable the encryption on the MCU side, and MCU will manage this. So we have 2 options. It's like a strict mode when we encrypt all connections, and if the remote endpoint joining the conference on the MCU is not able to support the encryption, we will reject this party. That endpoint won't be able to participate. And another less strict option is possible encryption. So those parties who do support encryption, the video streams for them and audio and content streams, for them they will be encrypted, and for the parties who are not supported, the video and audio streams, they won't be encrypted. So you have to decide which way to use, strict or less strict. But the main idea is that the encryption is finally available. Before it was only available in our server solution, but right now it is also available in MCU. So if you make calls from your rooms and connect remote parties, it is a very good idea to use the encryption. The problem with encryption, by the way, is that every vendor, every manufacturer of the endpoints like Cisco, Poly, Yearning, they understood standard a little bit differently, and there might be issues. And it is not our fault. It is like happens every time between different vendors in a multi-point calls in a world of legacy equipment. So if you see anything, let us know. We'll try to figure it out. No guarantees, because it's not our fault. It is the difference of the realizations of those standards by different vendors. But we will try to help you. Another big update is better ways to control the meeting and better ways to use, let's say, multi-pages content files during the meeting. So I will start a meeting to show you. So here is the main window of MCU control panel. It is called conferences. So we also have address book. We also have log files, and we have settings. So pretty simple. But the main section is conference list. So here we have conferences which is not started yet. We can create a new conference if we want. And another list here is active conferences. So I'd like to start the demo conference, which is pre-populated with free endpoints here. Just started, and you see that that conference is now labeled with a green sign, and we're also having a timer counter which shows us the time the conference is on. Now we see the list of participants. One participant is actually Dimitri. He's not responding. He is doing this on purpose, so it is not a problem. So we'd like to demonstrate you that when you invite endpoints to the conference, some of them, for different reasons, won't be able to join. However, the operator will see who are not able to join, and we can re-invite them. If someone during the call is being disconnected, we are also able to re-invite them any moment. So we do not delete information about previous participants. So everything is available here, and we can highly customize this list. So for example, I can enable and disable some information about connectivity properties. I can sort. This is a new feature. There are we can sort participants not by name, for example, but the time they join the meetings. Or we can rename the participant and put special letters, let's say 0 in front of some participant to make him on the top of the participant list all the time. So it is some minor changes which helps operators to host pretty large conferences, because this solution support up to 150 endpoints in a single meeting, but we can cascade one meeting into another meeting. So in general, the limit is 150 squared by 2. However, we usually don't need so many connections. So usually our customers, they have 20, 30, sometimes 50 connections, and they distribute this MCU solution between different countries or regions, and they cascade important meetings one to another to balance the network load. So there are many scenarios, many cases we could cover with our software and cascading feature. But the main idea is that the product itself is very capable to host large meetings. It is not comparable to TrueConf Server, which is capable of 1,000 participants. But if we talk about legacy equipment, if we talk about conferencing rooms, this is a pretty high figure, pretty large number. So let's proceed. The new feature we added is the ability to create content streams from PDF files. So let me show you. I will add to this call some additional videos. We have some pictures. Yep. I will also call to this conference from our group endpoint we are having in this room right now. So I go to the group settings. Okay, so conference control, contacts, address book. Yeah, so we have, we pre-populated, we added before the contact detail for this call to our room solution. So I will just make a call. So now you can see that we created a multi-point call on MCU in a pretty large full HD quality, which contains from multiple endpoints. And we also can use images and video files for different video streams like IP cameras or YouTube streams as a source of video. To manage this, I can use the Add Participant feature, and here I can add any participant using any supported protocol. In addition to free-to-frame SIP, we also do support RTSP and VNC, so we can share the desktop. Okay, let's add a Cisco endpoint we have in our demo room. So let's wait a little bit. Yeah, the layout is full now. That's nice. So we have a large conference right now. We can manage it here. What I'd like to show you is that we are able, as an operator who is managing this conference remotely using this control panel, I can initiate the second stream, the content stream, from the control panel. So, and before we were able only to populate content stream using images, but right now we are also able to populate content stream using PDF files. And usually PDF files, they have a lot of pages inside. So it is possible now to switch those pages from operator side and manage huge slide decks remotely. This is a very new feature. So let me show you. Here we have the content sharing stream. It is usually being delivered to endpoints by means of protocols H239 and BFCP. And if I go to the information about the content stream being delivered to the participants, I can use PTZ camera controls. I'm agree, this is not a very natural way to control slides. However, I click on pages. It took some time, and we change pages remotely, which are being delivered as a content to all the participants. So there is no need, for example, to bring your laptop to the conference room and connect the laptop to HDMI capture card to show the content. You can ask your operator to upload a PDF file to the conference in advance or during the conference, and use special controls to change pages remotely. So it will simplify things for some participants, especially for important meetings, which are usually controlled in person by operator, who can open the control panel and manage the conference and manage the content and everything. This is a new feature, the support for PDF files. Another feature which is also important, but we talked about it before. For example, we can move participant between calls. So I can drag and drop one participant to another conference. So we can use one conference, for example, as a waiting room, and we can move participants from waiting room to a real conference, in production conference in a few seconds. We can select multiple participants and move them together. So a lot of usability features are hidden within this interface. This is very cool. We don't have any other running conference for you to demonstrate the move action, but it is here. Please pay attention that we have the content active. That's why the content icon is blinking because we have a content in place. We can start a recording here as well. And now the recording button, the recording is on, and now we have a recording button is also flashing, telling the operator that the recording is in place. Okay, so a lot of features are hidden here. So let's proceed to the slide deck. Let's remain this conference as it is and move on. So another big update, and it is quite important actually, and many customers ask us to bring it, is the ability to join MCU meetings using your browser. So we added support for WebRTC. We have a huge experience in WebRTC and TrueConf solutions. We were one of the first companies in the world to add support for WebRTC back in 2013, almost 10 years ago. So we know how to do that. So any conference has the share section. So let me show you. It's like a simple icon share thing. And here I can copy and paste the conference page. I can share it using the calendar or any messenger platform or email, what is more convenient for you. And any person who received this link will be able to join this meeting using TrueConf application. We will transcode automatically from TrueConf protocol to C+323 protocol or using a browser. So I will ask my colleague Dmitry to show you. It will be more better to see it in this way. Dmitry, please join this meeting, and I will show you the list of participants with you. So now we have 6 participants in a conference. I will stop sharing the content. Okay, just a moment. I will disable the self view as well. Okay. Okay, so Dmitry is connected as a Joe Doe guest user. So let's have a look on the information about this user. You don't have a camera, but anyway, it looks like and acts like any other endpoint in a call. So we can access the call statistics. We can adjust the microphone volume. We can adjust the playback volume going to that participant. So we can change its name in the layout. We can see the layout being delivered to the WebRTC session. So basically, it looks like any other endpoint on a call. And thanks to WebRTC powerful standard, we are able to deliver and capture very nice audio and very nice video quality, which could be up to 1080p 60 frames per second with 48 kilohertz for audio. This is impressive quality. If you have a nice channel, your WebRTC participants will receive very nice quality, very similar to the quality other participants experience from their room endpoints. And this is the power of new technologies, actually. So any browser right now is more powerful than traditional legacy equipment. But that's not the point of this webinar, but this is funny. So this is a new feature. The difference between WebRTC client of TrueConf server and WebRTC client of MCU is that there is no participant list in MCU. There is no chat in MCU version. So MCU link is only used to be connected to the meeting, and that's it, nothing else. If you need to use a chat, if you need to manage participants, we advise you to use the proper solution for this, which is TrueConf server, because MCU is a solution for room equipment. And WebRTC connectivity is used only for some specific cases when some important participant, for some reasons, are not able to reach the room and join the meeting. So it could be used, but we advise to use TrueConf server for massive WebRTC webinars like today's webinar. But in MCU, it's like a backup option to join the meeting. So I will stop the recording. Okay. Is my screen large enough? It should be. Okay,
it is.
So let's move forward. If you have any questions so far, let me check. No questions. Okay. I will go back to the slide deck. Thank you, Dmitry. So next feature is the ability to to set the upper limit for the video quality being delivered for specific layout or specific user. It happens that some participants, some rooms, some remote locations you invite to the calls, they do not need the high quality video. Maybe they don't have the large TV, or they have a smaller room. They don't need a large quality, or maybe you'd like to save the usage of the resources of the MCU by decreasing the quality for some participants and increasing the quality for more important participants. So now it is also possible to achieve using the bandwidth and resolution limits for users and layout. So let me show you. If we go to the, I will drop some, let's drop Cisco from this call. I go to the address book. So from address book, I can access the settings for this endpoint, for Cisco endpoint. And here in additional settings, I can set a limit. So once the limit is set, it doesn't mean that the resolution will be frozen. Of course, it will be adaptive. So MCU will adjust the bandwidth and resolution down below the limit. If the connection quality is poor, it will happen automatically. You don't have to worry about this. But idea here is to set the upper limit, because otherwise MCU will try to output the maximum quality. We do not license like full HD licenses, HD licenses, SD licenses. We only license connections. And for us, there is no limits for quality limits for connections. So MCU will try to output the maximum for every connection. So for some endpoints, now you are able to set the bitrate limit or resolution limit. Bitrate is even more useful because, for example, you have a limited internet channel for some remote location, and you don't want the video conference service to utilize more than 2 megabits per second, let's say. So you can set this specific limit for this specific endpoint. It will be applied to all endpoints from this IP address here. Okay, so that's another new feature, the maximum resolution and bitrate limits for layouts and for individual endpoints. Okay, another update is an ability to control the loudness and sensitivity, the loudness of the content stream. So we can use, let's go to our conference, back to the conference. So when someone during the meeting start to show, let's reinvite Joe. Okay. Not here, Joe is disconnected. Okay, so when someone during the call start to show the content stream, not his video, but the content stream, this content stream could come with audio, because usually it is HDMI capture card, which also captures audio, not just the video from your laptop or other source. And starting from this version, we are able to manage the loudness the MCU can apply to this content stream. So I will try to show you this. So basically, just imagine this is our content. This video is our content stream. So we can move this sensitivity bar and adjust the level of the audio being delivered from that content stream. That's also, this is also a new feature. So PDF sharing we just covered. So now we can share PDF files, which is cool. And one of the last things, we decided to limit the size of the log files because under heavy load, MCU produced a lot of log files for troubleshooting, and we decided to limit them for 3 days. If you'd like to avoid this limitation, you have to contact our technical support team, but it is a default now. So just to save the space on your hard drives. Okay, So we have a couple of limits left, so please prepare your questions if you have any, while I will show you some features we showed before in the previous webinars, just to create better understanding of this product. So the most important thing is how easy, let me hide some additional details. Okay, it is how easy the layouts could be controlled for multiple simultaneous conferences for operator. For example, if I'd like to add, okay, I will add some participants, just a moment. So if I'd like to make someone in the layout larger, I can point my mouse next to its name and click on a crown. And immediately in the layout, this particular participants will become larger. If I'd like to go back for the gallery view and just click on the crown again, and the layout is changed. So we don't need to go to the settings and create a specific layout, so we can highlight important participants easily by using this method. Another good approach is to disable automatic layout and create a layout with voice activity detection. So let's create a layout for 13 participants. It looks nice, and we can select the participant in the center and tell the MCU that it will be used for active speaker. The right top corner will be empty, and all people in the bottom row will shuffle. So if you have more than 13 participants, the bottom row will be rotated for participants who are not presented in the layout. So once applied, the layout is being applied for all participants. So I will show you from Cisco point of view. So this is the camera of Cisco, and this is the layout being delivered on Cisco. So this is how it looks like. Okay, it is very easy to do, and we can create very quickly individual layouts for any endpoint. So let's do this. Our group endpoint is here, so I can create for this particular endpoint individual layout. Let's make it, yeah, this one looks nice. Okay, fill. So we have pre-filled everything and hit create, and now we have layout which is only applied to the endpoint I have in my room right now, and other participants, they have their own individual layouts which is inherited from the default layout. So we can create unlimited number of layouts. We can even create special layouts which are applied for the recording, and in recording layout we do support content mode. So if someone will start to share the content, the specific layout will be applied instead of the default recording layout. So we do support all these very complicated scenarios for the layout. So you have unlimited power on the layouts using TrueConf MCU. And these layout management tools are much more powerful compared to the TrueConf server, which is designed to be used by desktops and mobiles and browser users. And usually our desktop customers, they manage layouts by themselves. But in terms of legacy equipment and MCU, they're not able to do this. So we use special interface, powerful interface of TrueConf MCU to achieve this. Another important feature is the channels. So we can create translation channels, interpretive channels. For example, for specific language we need to deliver in this call. It could be German language, French language, English language, and we select the streams, the directions for audios. Let's say the German interpreter will be only heard the audio by some specific endpoints, and etc. So we can create a mesh of different audio channels to realize the simultaneous translation and interpretation scenarios using MCU. So this is a pretty complicated tool. It looks very simple, but a lot of features is hidden inside. So I advise you to give it a try, and it plays nicely with the existing MCU. So if you already have Codian, Arrowmix, disk emitting server solutions, and you'd like to extend their capacity in a fraction of a price using virtual machines and Linux operating system and TrueConf MCU software, just get in touch with us and we will be happy to help you and provide licenses. So this is all for the 1.5 update. If you have any questions, please use the chat to ask them. Thank you. I'm stop sharing my screen. Okay.
So
No
probably
questions
just
so far.
to summarize, here's from Nicola, looks very easy to work with an administrator. So to summarize, the most important from today, users from web browser can connect to TrueConf MCU now, right? Now all the connections are always encrypted, or we can configure that.
Rudolf, could you please repeat the question? I
Yes,
don't get it.
all the connections now are always encrypted with SIP and H323.
It's
right?
by default, we enable encryption only for those devices who do support the encryptions. When the connection is being established, the endpoint tells the MCU which protocols he supports, and we establish the connection. We try to establish the connection in a secure manner using encryption, using those standards to H235 and SRTP. However, if the endpoint don't offer us the support for the encryption, it won't be used. So, however, you are able to enable strict mode, as I said in the beginning. So it's up for the administrator to decide. Would be the encryption be applied to all calls, all conferences, or only for those endpoints who provide support for this, who has support for this feature?
Okay, thanks. Also, one more question here, that there was a feature with the sorting of the list of active conference participants, or they're in the list. So does it affect somehow the layout itself during the conference call?
No, of course not. The sorting is only applied to the list of the participants for the operator. If you'd like to work with a layout, you have to go to layout editor, and over there you can use drag and drop between slots and the layouts to arrange participants in the way you'd like to have.
Okay, thanks. I especially like the content sharing functionality. That was, I think, pretty useful. You can use all different formats, MP3, MP4, all different kind of pictures. Are there any formats which are like unsupported yet but planned to be supported in the future?
We will not provide support for MOV files, as I remember. AVI, MP4, etc. video sources are being already supported. So basically, the idea is that any media, image, slide deck, presentation, video file could be used as a video participant in the layout. So there are unlimited number of scenarios where it could be used. So that brings the power to the conference layouts. Okay,
thanks.
Okay. Wonderful. Rudolf, thank you for your assistance. Guys, it is a big pleasure to see you today. So we will provide the slide deck and the recording for all participants in a few days, and just give us some time. And I think we will end this webinar at this moment. So please pay attention to our website. We have a lot of updates coming, and I hope we'll be able to see you on IC in May, in 5 or 4 weeks, very soon in Barcelona. So that's it. Be safe and have a nice day. And thank you for joining us today.
Goodbye, everyone.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye.